Allergies suck. Alright, that's all I have to say to you guys. Have a good night. Good night, New York. You know, there should be a. Oh, there's Good Morning America. And then Full House had Wake Up San Francisco. Maybe not. Alright. So. This episode is going to be more on the college life side rather than the blindness half. But I do have an anecdote for you all to kind of tie it all in together. You know, the anecdote has to do with the blindness problems, but it took place at school, and then, you know, we'll segue into school. Sorry, you're gonna have to deal with that. Like I said, allergies, they suck. At least I'm not sneezing super aggressively. The Claritin has helped with that. And I don't sound as stuffy as I did this weekend. It was really bad. Alright, so, anecdote. So I was in the multicultural club room. That's one of the two clubs that I frequent, Multicultural Club and my school's literary magazine. I talk about this in episode 6, I think, where I talk about my extracurriculars, and then either 7 or 8 where I talk about NaNoWriMo. Or my participation, rather, in NaNoWriMo. So I'm in Multicultural Club, and it has a nickname. I don't remember what it's called. But I'm on the couch and sitting in the corner, and I'm just watching Game of Thrones. If any of my subscribers are also into Game of Thrones, don't say anything about Season 6. I'm only on Season 2. I'm only watching it because one of my friends has asked me to. Yeah, I still have to finish the books, too. I'm halfway through 4. Anyway, though. So, I'm sitting on the couch in the corner, and I'm watching Game of Thrones, and I have my brown note on my lap. Like, I was going to do homework, but that didn't happen, which we'll get into later. So I'm going to do homework, and then my friend walks in, and she sits on the arm of the couch, and she, like, runs her fingers along the brown note display. Now, it drives me insane when people do this. I tell them not to, and generally people don't, but just always they stop. But always just, like, that initial, like, first run across of fingers. It's really frustrating. For any of my new subscribers who don't know what that is, you can check out my previous videos and see it, like episode 11, or just Google brown note. Wikipedia has the answers. But there's, like, you know, natural greases on our hands that can, like, get caught, and the dots won't be as crisp, and I take my braille very seriously. But whatever, watching my Game of Thrones, I don't really want to be bothered, but I haven't seen her in a couple of weeks, so whatever. She asks me, you know, what it says, so I read her, like, what's on the display, and she's like, can I, like, mess with it or something? And normally I don't let people, but I just want to watch the TV, or my phone. And, you know, she probably didn't even realize because my phone case was closed since I don't watch it, like, physically look at it. And my hair was covering my ear, so she didn't see the earpiece in. And it was, you know, it was dark in there, so, okay, whatever. But it was just, still annoying, because I was trying to watch my show. But anyway, so I opened an empty document, and I hand it to her, and, you know, I know she's just going to type for a couple of seconds, and then she's going to hand it back to me. Now, along this couch, there are a few other kids sitting. There's only a few people that I really interact with in Multicultural Club, though, like, they all say hi to me, yada, yada, yada. But there are, like, other people and book bags along the couch, and there's a guy, I think he was sitting, like, 2 cushions over from me. And to Gina, he's like, oh, you're, like, effing up the blind person's machine. Now, his voice sounded familiar. I believe we have some mutual friends in common. I think we've, like, all hung around each other. But I just never spoke really to him. He's like, you know, you're going to F up the blind person's thing, machine, whatever he said. And I don't say anything because, yes, I heard him and I registered it, but I'm watching something. And Gina said something in response I didn't catch. And he's like, will she be able to read it when you're finished? And just the way, you know, he's just talking about, so first it was kind of the blind person, and now he's like, you know, will she be able to do this? Will she be able to do that? And, like, I'm in between you guys. It's not as though he's standing next to Gina, who, as I don't know if I mentioned, but she was sitting on the arm of the couch. It's not as though he's standing next to her. Like, I'm between them, and you're talking about me as though I'm not there. Like, I just finished talking to her. You've seen me interact with other people. And I I didn't say anything in that instance. I just let it go, and I was just like, whatever. But it happens so often, and it's really frustrating because a lot of people do it. When I'm walking with someone, they'll talk to the other person like, hey, can she see at all? Or what happened to her eyes? And in those instances, I'll respond. And a lot of times people will then very embarrassedly then like continue asking me the questions. But some people continue on asking the people next to me. And I'm like, hi, yeah, me, hey. Just because my eyeballs are different and I have a cane doesn't mean that I can't speak for myself, especially when I do speak up. And again, today I didn't because I was just like, whatever. And a lot of times the people with me, they'll be like, she can speak for herself, and the people will still kind of disregard them. It's really annoying. All right, so segue into school. I know it was pretty abrupt. But okay, so now I'm gonna, I don't know, spend maybe a little over 5 minutes talking about my academic history and stuff like that, and it'll get into academic apathy. So, when I started schooling 7 years ago, I'm not even a score old, so that doesn't even work. Like, I turned 20 in September, so not even a full score. But when I started elementary school, I was placed in special ed because, blind person, so, obviously special ed. Then I had a vision teacher come along in 3rd grade who, figured out that wasn't the right placement for me, and I tested out of it, or whatever the procedure is. And I spent the last few months of 3rd grade in mainstream, not special ed, or gen ed, whatever, general education. Side note, vision teacher kind of assists with, all of the visual aspects of things, if you guys didn't guess. So making sure my work was in an accessible format, i.e. brailing it for me, or having embossed. An embosser is a braille printer. My vision teachers made me advocate since 3rd or 4th grade to my teachers for myself, but I know other students whose vision teachers continue to advocate for them, and then all of a sudden it's senior year and they're like, hey, you guys got to do it for yourself in college. But yeah, so I had the experience beforehand. But anyway, so she was a cool teacher, and especially since she got me out of special ed. However, when I changed schools the following year, to a school that was better, stronger academically, she advised my parents that it would be better if I was placed in 3rd grade again, so that I could catch up on any information that I might miss, just skipping the 4th grade, since I spent 3rd grade in 2 different programs, especially since it wasn't even half and half. I spent the bulk of my 3rd grade year in special ed, and that was so awkward for me. While I wasn't the only 9-year-old in 3rd grade, we were few and far between. So, most of the people were 8. And when I talked to my friends from my old school, I didn't want to tell them that. I was pretty embarrassed. Because it's not like I flunked out and I didn't fully understand why. And now, I understand, and I think, it was good, but it still bothers me. I should have graduated a year earlier than I did. I should be a college sophomore right now rather than a freshman. So, in high school, I tried to graduate early. It was really a big goal for me. So 9th grade, I start, and the first semester our classes are chosen, but the second semester we get to choose our classes, and we get to choose our classes for the following year at my high school, so that was cool. I chose my classes, and I went to my guidance counselor. And, I was I told her I wanted to graduate early, and she told me that the school didn't have enough money or something, I couldn't do that. I don't remember what exactly her reasoning was, but basically, I couldn't graduate early, and that frustrated me. And other people told me that wasn't true, but my guidance counselor, what else could I do? I didn't think about, maybe talking to the principal or anything. I did not like my guidance counselor. And I'll give you some examples of why. So, when I told you I had my class planned out for the next year, I was really into physics. I don't know why. And I still find it fascinating, but I wouldn't take a class. If someone took the class and told me the information that they learned, then that'd be great. I'd love to hear about it, but I don't want to actually learn it myself. So I wanted to take physics, and she's like, well, you have to take chemistry first. And I was like, all right, I'll take chemistry. And she was like, well, you have to take Regent Sciences. Why don't you get your Regent Sciences out of the way and take Earth Science? Now, I did not do any research. I didn't know that chemistry was a Regent Science. So I was like, okay. It was over the summer that I was like, wait a second, chemistry is a Regent Science. I was so upset. Another instance was I wanted to do weight training. They had 9 different types of gyms at my school. And I wanted to take weight training or karate. And she's like, don't you think that'd be dangerous? Blah, blah, blah. And I went out for weight training, and it was not dangerous, and it was great. And I ended up teaching the weight training teachers, and it was fine. But it really frustrated me, and that bothered me for the rest of the high school year. There are a lot of things that I just let go, and there are other things that I just hold on to for quite some time. Or I'll let it go, but it'll still bother me, like, mentally. Like, I might not bring it up to other people, but it'll still bother me. Like, I'll continue thinking about it. But the following year, I got a new guidance counselor who was awesome, amazing. I told her that I wanted to graduate in 3 years, and she started, like, helping me work on it. I took summer school the following year, I think, yeah, between 10th and 11th grade, sophomore and junior year. And I, like, filled up my schedule as much as I could. And I would have been able to pull off graduating 6 months early, but I couldn't. I didn't want to. I felt like that would be a waste of time because last week was spring break and I didn't want to go back to school after a week. So 9 months out of school, because a lot of the schools that I wanted to apply to didn't accept freshmen in January. So I knew that would not be a good idea. So I stuck it out and I took the bare minimum of classes, which was 4. So I had 9 free periods. 6 classes was the minimum. So I had 3 free periods. And one of the periods was my vision teacher, wherein we didn't do very much, one of the occupied periods. Like, we worked on some technology and stuff like that, but I a lot of times just got to relax in there and read and stuff like that. So it was good. It was good. But throughout high school, like, I coasted. But somehow I still managed to overwork myself. Like, I did the bare minimum work and still managed to pull off really good grades. And just speaking to me, you know, I sound intelligent. I don't even, you know, you'll know when I'm trying to sound smart. And, you know, and I just sound smart naturally. You'll know if I'm trying, though. Like, people, you know, you can generally tell because it's definitely not natural for me. But the way I speak now is how I speak. So people assume that I'm intelligent because of the way that I speak. And, you know, that got me like pretty far. But again, I still managed to overwork myself. I had 2 internships throughout high school. In the second half of junior year, I worked at the Rubin Museum of Art. In addition to this, I was also taking College Now classes twice a week. College Now, in case anyone doesn't know, is you get free college credits while you're still in high school. So College Now plus music school once a week. So all of this. And a lot of times, like, I just come home and I'd go to sleep because I just did so much. And I like I said, I coasted. It was easy to get, like, fairly good grades. Now, if I really tried, like, I probably would have been an amazing student. And I would have gotten into so many more of the schools that I wanted to get into. And that's, like, the thing that I regret. I was waitlisted by U Chicago. I love U Chicago. I love Chicago. And I was waitlisted, and I still wonder, like, if I'd done better, if I'd had a higher average, because my average wasn't bad. But if I'd had a higher average, would I have been accepted and not just waitlisted? But, you know, the school that I'm in isn't bad. I'm a bit of a snob sometimes, but it honestly it's a really good school, and I really do enjoy it. But, so, coasting, doing the bare minimum of work, I actually almost failed Spanish, which I definitely, like, there have been 2 times that I've cried over school. And the first time was at senior year when my Spanish teacher emailed me, like, 2 days before, I think, like, 3 days before graduation, like, hey, you have, like, a 43 in my class. I was just like, I didn't know what to do, because I checked my email at, like, midnight, so I stayed awake until, like, 5 a.m., just, like, making up work or, like, sending in work that I'd already done, but just, like, bettering it. And I ended up with, like, I want to say high 70s like 76 or something, so like mid 70s, not high 70s. So, I still like managed to pull it off, but that was crazy. And then summer after senior year, after my week vacation in Disney World because of my amazing, wonderful godmother, it was a graduation present, I did Summer's Edge, which was summer classes that were offered to the freshmen in my school. And they called it Summer's Edge because the freshmen who took advantage of it in the summer would have an edge on the freshmen just coming in the fall who were starting with no credits. However, in high school, I was, in addition to my internships in music school, I was also doing College Now. So I took 3 College Now classes. So I started the summer with 6 credits, and then I took 1 class during the summer, so another 3 credits, so 9 credits. I started my first semester with 9 credits, and I was taking 5 classes, so 15 credits. And then my plan was to take a winter class, so I'd have another 3 credits, and by January, so this semester, I would be a second semester freshman, but have the credits of a sophomore. And my goal was I'm planned on graduating in 3 years, because I was supposed to graduate, I was the class of 2015, so I was supposed to be part of the class of 2014 in high school. And then now I'm part of the class of 2019, and I should be a part of the class of 2018 because of the whole 3rd grade thing, and it still bothers me. And now I just kind of, at some point, it changed from like having to do it so I could graduate early and graduate when I'm supposed to just doing it to see if I can do it, to see if I can pull it off. But things did not go that way. So last semester, I had to take my math class credit, no credit, and that was the second time I cried because of school. Because math is not my strong suit, and I really did not like the prospect of having to take it again. Now, I would have finished the class with a D, but I needed a C, because the class was a core requirement for my school, one of its core requirements. However, it's also a prerequisite to the next math class that I have to take, which is statistics or calculus, either one, which is a prereq to the psych major. So I needed a C to get into the other math class. So I took a class credit, no credit, i.e. I received no credit for it, which put me at, I only completed 12 credits last semester, so then I had 12 plus 12 is 24. Guys, I told you I'm bad at math. So 24 credits or whatever, so still firmly freshman. But I'd signed up, registered, there we go. I'd registered for the winter class. Now, winter class, that was not as interesting as I thought it was going to be. And I wanted to drop it on the first day, but my sister convinced me to stay a part of it, and I really should have dropped it. Because, so first of all, it was 3 weeks and 45 hours of work in 3 weeks online. Online, it's very easy to neglect an online class. And that's basically, I neglected it a lot, and I had like a bit of things going on. I was moving. I didn't really help with the move. Like, it was, I don't know. It wasn't happening. And so I took an incomplete for that class, i.e. I didn't get the grade for it, and I have until the end of the semester to finish it. Now, this semester, I'm taking again, or I was taking 5 classes, so 15 credits, plus the winter class, which puts me at 6 classes. At the beginning of last month, I ended up dropping a class, dropping my Caribbean history class, which was really interesting, but it was also another online class. I didn't learn my lesson, and it was actually with the same professor from the winter class. And so I dropped that class because I was definitely really behind. Online, I kept on putting it off, and 6 classes were just way too much. And so this brings me to academic apathy. So last semester, only like 20 minutes later, so last semester and throughout high school, like, I'd put my work off until the last minute, and like, I wouldn't do that essay until the night before or even the morning of. And it worked for me. Like, I always said that I did better under pressure. And sometimes I'd even, give myself a couple of days if it was actually, like, a project where my 10-page research paper, I did really give myself a couple of days for that. And I managed. I finished with A's and B's. That was great. Um, but this semester has just been a lot worse. Like, I've had no motivation to do anything. Even like last minute, then I'd still let myself get distracted by nothing. Like, I wouldn't do anything. It's not like I'd say I'd get distracted by my writing, because I haven't been writing for a little while. I have been like slacking on my guitar practice. Um, you know, and it's really frustrating. Um, so I started Googling, like, when college students feel like they don't want to do anything. So instead of doing my work, I spent time Googling about it, and I started to learn about academic apathy. Now, apathy is not a word that is foreign to me. This might come as a surprise to a lot of people. I like to think that I mask it pretty well, but I'm pretty apathetic in my daily life and in most things. And again, like I said, I think that I mask it well. But, so I started looking up academic apathy. These past few years of college students, people have nicknamed the apathetic generation, because there's just been like less motivation to do work and stuff like that. Now, one of my friends theorized, hypothesized, whatever, that it might be because like we have a lot more things on our mind than past generations, like the increase in terrorist attacks and things to that effect. It's hard to concentrate on studying and doing things, and especially, so you would think that the motivation would be like, well, you're going to be in thousands of dollars in debt for a lot of people, so you'd want to get the most of it. But on the same token, some people might be like, well, I'm already going to be thousands of dollars in debt, so whatever, I can just coast. And I've had a lot of friends this semester who've had like similar problems in terms of just like not being motivated. Like, I have a midterm that I handed in like a week late, and it, like, there are things that I should be doing now instead of making this video, which I'm definitely going to sit and force myself to do when I'm finished. But I wanted to talk about it only because, like, I know I have a lot of friends who are kind of embarrassed to admit, like, I know some of them are failing classes. I'm not failing yet because, again, like, I'm just barely keeping myself there. But, it's for me, my friend hypothesized that I just haven't given myself enough, like, mental breaks from academia and stuff like that, because I guess I have been going pretty nonstop. Hamilton! Sorry, but I have been going pretty consistently for a long time and just doing multiple things, juggling tons of things at once. So right now I still have to finish that online class because I learned that an incomplete will turn into an F. I can't have an F. Like, even if I get a C in that class, whatever. But I can't have an F or a D. D's are unacceptable. C's are just barely acceptable. But anyway, so I've been feeling like super lazy this semester, and like generally I'm pretty lazy in my daily life. Like, I have no problem admitting that. But it's just been more than that. A lot of from the research I've done, like, the main advice that people give is, to set goals for yourself. Set little goals for yourself, like, okay, maybe I'll just get a paragraph done today for the bigger essay that's due in a week, yada, yada, yada. And just kind of to get over any type of apathy. But I have to have the motivation to set those goals in the first place. And a lot of times, like, I can just force myself to do it because that's, like, I have to. That's what I have to do. But it's not enough anymore. So yeah, if anybody has any advice for me beyond, like, set goals for yourself, I'm going to be glad to take that. And, if anyone also just wants to, if anyone watched all of me blabbering and rambling about, like, my academic history, and, can also just kind of relate, feel free to comment and all of that stuff. But I just wanted to make a video wherein I talked more about my academics because I focused a lot on, like, the blind side of things, and, I wanted to talk a little bit about the college life. And, I don't think I mentioned this, but, so what I plan on studying, I plan on double majoring in psychology and English with a concentration in creative writing. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's double major. Psychology and English. With an English major, you have to concentrate in something. And a minor, I was thinking about culture, anthropology, or religion. I also wanted to do something in performing arts. Like, my three passions have always been music, psychology, and writing. But then just, like, researching things in general. Like, I love just learning. But But I'm gonna end this because I think I'm like approaching half an hour. But you know, I guess I just wanted to ramble about that. Just talk about it with all of my internet strangers, my 58 awesome subscribers. Thank you guys, by the way. Um, I don't know if there was really a purpose to this, but if it has helped anyone, or if you just had fun watching me talk to a camera, like that's cool. And yeah, the next video I think I'm going to make, it's about, so I mentioned, you know, when I switched schools, so from 3rd to 8th grade, that brought in the blind girl for my blind and visually impaired friends. I just put air quotes, the blind girl years where I was the only cane user in school. So I'll talk about that in the next video, unless I come up with something more interesting. And yeah, have a good night, guys.